Please, Chairman,
always shining.
So good to see you. Chairman, so good to see you. Please sit down. Please sit down. Very nice to have you. So nice.
Thank you very much.
This would be the first time you would appear for an interview since you became party chairman. Have you done it before?
Yeah, here, but done elsewhere.
Okay. Fantastic. Very nice to see you. Just to be sure, you've been chairman of Okanafu?
Yeah, I was.
Commissioner Education?
House of Assembly
member? Board member at Akwa State Local Government Service Commission. And now you're state chairman.
Yes.
What else are you going to not be state chairman? You've been everything. So good to have you.
Thanks, sir.
The Right Honorable Elder Anekan Simon Akpan is our studio guest, and let the non-politician, the guy that we're trying to make a politician, let him fire the first shot. The chairman, how are you? How is the family? How is everything?
Good.
And our party?
Thank God.
Good.
All is well.
So that's Francis, and that's, of course, Itoro.
Chairman, good to have you join us in the studio.
Thank you,
and
Francis.
I always love to ask the $1 billion question. How was your journey to Spectrum?
The road. How was the trip down here?
Yeah, well, thank God I'm here.
That's all that matters.
Yes.
All right, so let's talk. First question, politics. You've been the PDP chairman for
3 years.
3 years now, much I can remember.
About so, yeah.
Okay, so how has it been navigating the leadership of the People's Democratic Party in Akwa Ibom State?
Yeah. Very exciting. I would say the ruling party to be at the head, and you have all the millions of the members, and you have to find a way to satisfy majority of the members, the aspirations. And, it's been quite exciting. Definitely, I enjoy it because I've been involved over time. Been there, contested election as chairman, as member of House of Assembly, and the people around me have been the people we've been very close together in the past, leaders and so on. So just there to bring everybody together, and as much as possible, do your best, and God takes over from there.
Okay. Definitely. Looking at some of the things you've achieved, I think the first thing that stands out for me is ensuring we have a permanent location for the People's Democratic Party in Akwa Ibom State. That's not something that we used to have before your coming on board. I'd like to dig a little bit further. At this point in time, last year was like the biggest or one of the toughest moments during the electioneering period. How are you able to navigate that time? And especially with the return of people who left just last year. How is your party at the moment?
Very, very strong. Like you say, those that left us are back. I know the process, getting to the elections, the congresses, that was really the time that was somehow turbulent. Turbulent not in terms of violence, but actions and reactions of aspirants within the party, because like we always say, PDP is Akwa Ibom is PDP, because that is where you have majority of the people coming together aspiring to various positions, the national level, the state level, and so on, to be able to manage that situation, because as we're preparing for the congresses, the issue of those that were supposed to be part of the Congress, whether ad hoc delegates, statutory delegates, and this issue took us up to the Supreme Court for the decision to be made. So it was a situation of what was going to be the final solution to the matter. But definitely the Electoral Act, the one we're operating and the one we are still operating now, clearly indicated that only people that are elected can be part of the congresses. And that's why the party had to follow the law, and we had the ad hoc delegates. And that is where the issue came up. Some people decided not to be part of it, went to court, but the court affirmed that that was what was in the electoral act, and we followed that through. So coming to the electioneering, as usual, you have to go down. So PDP is already on ground in all the units, in all the wards, in all the local government. So you just go there, tell your people what you've done before, what the party has done before, what we intend to do with the new captain, the ship, which is the current governor, Pastor Novasiel.
Okay, just before I let you go and allow Honorable Itoro to comment, are you not worried, just like you reminded us this morning, during that period we saw a disparity, two venues of the gubernatorial primaries elections, the Nest of Champion, which produced the current governor, and of course they were housing axes. With the return of people who are not used to the kind of politics that PDP plays, or who were part of PDP, left, and for one reason or the other have picked up one or two bad attitude, and then they're returning back to the fold. Are you not worried of these people acting as saboteurs as we gear up for the next round of elections?
Well, let me say this. There was only one venue for our Congress. There was only one venue. We cannot bring illegality into something that is legal. The venue for the Congress that produced our candidate, Pastor Omar Basema, for the Nest of Champion. There was no other venue. There was no venue in a way known to the people within the party. There was no venue like that.
Okay,
So
Itoro.
we were just doing illegal things that could not stand.
Okay, Chairman, let me also join Bush and Edith to welcome you to this program. But let me recalibrate the trajectory, of the serious couple of questions we need to rest. Let me still go back in time. There are a number of issues that Bush raised, and they were quite rhetorical, but I like to, make them reverberate. And maybe you provide answers to them. I mean, in addition to all of that, which you mentioned, those obviously mentioned you had held in the past. I also can recall that you had been a classroom teacher, a science teacher, who was to become a principal general, and you retired about 15 years ago. Before you walked in, Ime was trying to tease Bush and says he doesn't look his age. And when I look at when he retired, and I look at you,
And what is, all these positions,
all these positions you've held, you don't seem to look your age. And then I like to ask, was there a childhood, prophecy about you that you were going to be this seamless in your meteoric rise to stardom? There must be something very strategic about you that you've not shared with members of the
or is it even true that he has held these positions? Because you can't hold all these positions and still be like this.
the way it is.
Well, definitely, whatever it is, I give thanks to God. I was born before the Civil War, and so I was already in the primary school before, and the war broke out in 1966-67. So after the war, I survived and went back to school, finished my secondary school, 75, went to the university, returned 82, and started did my service, 82, 83, and they came back. That time, it was a different Nigeria. So the teaching job was waiting for me as a professional teacher, so I started the process. Retired voluntarily after 25 years.
Oh, okay. So you left before the 35 years statutory requirement.
So here we are.
Great.
Okay, so we'll still be doing this preamble for another 5 minutes before we get into the business of the day, the first anniversary of Governor Umar Eno. He's celebrating his first anniversary, and today we're looking at the political elements, the political perspective. How has he fared, politically speaking? But state chairman, at what point of your life did you decide that as soon as you are retired from active service, you get into politics, and how did that come to pass? How did that even happen? Because for me, it's the first time. This is the second time I had the opportunity of interviewing him when he was on the Commissioner of Education. So, when did it come into your picture that you were going to be in? After you retire from public service, from civil service or from teaching, that you're going to be involved, and how did that happen?
Yeah, as public servants, particularly teachers, normally in those days were recruited and brought in to be ad hoc staff of the INEC or whatever name, conducting elections. And somehow you become involved, because you are the one that's really doing the work. You go there in the field, you are presiding officer, you see what is going on, you are taken to be returning officer, you follow the processes and so on. So along the line, I saw what was happening. I became interested, saw our leaders, what they were doing, and policies, programs of government. As somebody in the school system, a professional teacher, I felt much can be done if I become involved, and also share my experiences, what I feel can be done. Even though initially, when we were discussing this in-house, I was being discouraged that politics is a dirty game, and it's not for people like you. By this time, I was already in my church doing some good work before my ordination as elder. And so when I was discussing about politics, my people, ministers of gospel, pastors, would tell me, no, you cannot be thinking of politics. It's a dirty game. It's just not for people like you and all that. But my position was, if this politics is that dirty, can we get in and try to see how we can do some cleaning?
Did you have some, what they call cultural shocks, some political shocks when you got in as a politician? Were there some things that happened that didn't quite align?
Definitely, I can tell you over time, even when I was still in service, in my community, we are leaders of some level. In our communities, we are there. While we were young in the school, university, I became a president of my community, president youth association, involved in doing some micro projects, cleaning of the community. Things we were thinking, if we have money, if we had the resources, we'll do this. In fact, I keep on telling people that sometime after we did the few things, we started digging palm trees off part of the road as part of our road construction using shovels. At a certain time, we raised money and built a substation. Mm-hmm. Even when there was no pole for electricity,
that was fair.
we built, by the grace of God, that place is still used as a substation where we have electricity in my community now. But that was done as a group of youth when I was leading. So these are part of the build-up. So within our community, we at that level started giving some level of political education, teaching our people how to vote, what we stood for. And when I was in university, I was really a follower of late Papa Awolowo. So the issue of free education really attracted me to the UPN then and its policies, the programs of UPN. So I was a follower of Papa Awolowo.
By the way, who were your parents? We don't seem to talk ever of them.
Well, now all disease. My father was a teacher, a professional teacher.
No doubt.
From there. My mother, a hardworking professional trader and farmer.
Wow.
Yeah. So I came from that background.
Okay, gentlemen. We're going to be shooting, eh? If you are set for us to get into
Okay, yes, we'll get
into
into the main meat of why we are here, but we'll still go back.
Absolutely. There's so much to go
start
back
somewhere.
to. Yeah.
But I'd like to start by asking you, we now have a governor who at the time was an aspirant on the platform of your party, at the time became the candidate of the party. When you look at your life and you place it side by side, the life, the story, all that shapes and defines, the person called Pastor Omar Basieno, are there some striking similarities?
That's a great question.
I raise this because, for instance, when you go back in time and look at when he joined the race, the reaction, the optics, what people said about him, and the fact that reality has eventually dawned on us. He's the governor of Akwa Ibom State. Place your life side by side that of the governor. Share with us some similarities.
Well, His Excellency the Governor, Pastor Omar Basieno, is a pastor. I'm just an elder of the church. so if we want to start from there. But definitely, let me say this, as a Christian, a believer in the Word of God, a believer in God, that God rules in the affairs of men. And so if I take my own background from there, I think that's exactly what I see in the governor, His Excellency Pastor Mabasina. So while you are still taking the flock in the bush, God can call you
at any time.
And the priest will wait. Everybody will have to wait until you come out from the bush, and the anointing. After that, you can go from there. So definitely, I believe strongly, like in the scripture, God told Jeremiah, don't argue with me before you were born, even before you were conceived. I've already ordained you a prophet for the nation. So don't tell me I cannot speak, I cannot do that, I cannot do. So as a Christian, I believe that goes on in the lives of people. God has kept him to be the governor of this state at a time like this. And so he will navigate however it was. Like you just said, growing in the barracks, not even thinking of, being involved. My own, like I've said, even as a student in the university, I was involved, being, active, following some leaders and so on. Even in the days of NPN and UPN, I was still there, but our governor, you follow his own background from the barracks and lost his parents and started struggling, getting into business. And God used him to flourish in his business and eventually call him out now, like he did to David. Yes, you have shepherded the flocks well. Come over there. He's also a shepherd. We'll take that. So God has his own way, definitely. But I think from his very humble background, that is the major similarity.
Very well. Francis, before you come in, let me just do a follow-up. And I really love us to always do follow-ups. This one that I want to do is about God and the gentleman who, by the grace of God, is state chairman of PDP, People's Democratic Party in Akwa Ibom State, the Right Honorable Elder Aniekan Simon Alpan. Every time one talks with you, Chairman, even in things that do not have anything to do with the church, you must go to God. Even when they are mentioning politics, real core politics, you must bring in God. You quote the Bible, you quote this. Even now, he was just asking you about the governor. The only place you seemed to dwell on was about, well, he's a pastor, I'm an elder, we are Christians, and which is just beautiful. But when did you meet God? When did you become like this? And has God or your godliness not stood in the way of you performing your duties as a political party helmsman?
Well, I don't know. I don't know exactly when to say when I met God. Some people, for us Christians. We read the scripture. We say, oh, some people said when I became born again and all that. But definitely, I think the grace I have is that I was born into a Christian family. My late grandfather was an elder of the church.
Whoa.
My father, now late superintendent of Sunday schools. I think I had that advantage that he brought us up, teaching us the scriptures. And even now, I still remember I can quote the scriptures in Nephic, what he used to teach us. You know, when I am sharing the message with some of my friends, I tell you, okay, one of the days I remember my father was teaching us from Proverbs in our local language. Eyenmi, midio wekpe tafi, kunyimung. And they say, okay, all of us should hold.
Yes.
So it's not something that you can easily say, okay, hold another person's ear and talk to that person. So as you are growing up, you sit back to recall. So even as you get into politics, you bring that back to mind that some years back, you were being told that
you don't always put that fee. Yes, me.
So as you come into, politics, you see some of the things you feel should not be done. And sometimes people try to lure you into things you feel is not proper. And so that is a background. So even as I sit as chairman of party, there are things I'll tell somebody is not proper. We should not go that way. Let's follow the rules and so on. But maybe in today's world, not many people.
Absolutely.
Not many people, because people want you to go this way, this way, this way.
Okay. But no, please, I seek your indulgence, dear Mr. Speaker. I'm just wondering, the state chairman, has God ever stood in the way of your functions, in the way of your duties? Have people hated you? I know you tried to allude to that. There are people who really hated you as state chairman because of God.
Well, I wouldn't know. Even though some people come behind to tell you some people don't like you, but I don't know whether they hate me.
Or they hate the things you do.
Or they hate the things I do, because I'll tell people, let's follow the thing the way it is. So it's possible, because like David said in the Psalms, people hate me for not anything, just for nothing, But I wouldn't say, because
and you don't mind.
I still assume I don't have haters.
Okay, and you don't mind, even if you had, do you mind?
Definitely, I have to go the way I should go.
Okay.
Best.
Bush asked the question that was just about committee,
I'm
just
like that sometimes.
but just to his aid to that, from the beginning of creation, we're told politics is a dirty game, and that's part of the reasons why the good guys from the church are not involved in politics. But unfortunately, our lives is impacted by what is happening in the political sphere and everything happening in the country. So, your story is one I'm getting to hear for the first time, and for me, it's an inspiration. But I'm wondering, what has been your greatest support system? Because I know, for a man who stands his ground, insists on things being done right, with the caliber of people we have within the political arena, it is going to be a challenging navigation for you. So what would you say has been your greatest support system to still stay and insist that things must be done right when the situation arises?
Number one, God. Number two, God. Number three, God.
Number 4, God. Number 5, God. Number 1 million, God.
What an answer.
Absolutely.
Okay, so State Chairman, we've really dug into your background, and it's pretty interesting. That some of the things we hear about you, we're just hearing them for the first time. But what actually surprises me is that this is the second time in all of the years of relationship you've had with Michael Bush, that he'll be interviewing you. It's a bit, I don't know how that has happened.
I don't know.
This is the second time.
We spend all the time off
I
air.
mean, so it's pretty interesting. But let's still, that maybe we'll begin to engage gear. Let's start because I think we've
Absolutely.
spent a pretty
Sure.
reasonable
Yes.
amount of time. So let's talk about your leadership. Maybe after that, Bush will help us
Absolutely.
to engage
Go
gear.
straight.
But let's talk about your leadership style. Many atypical politicians would think that the chairman of a ruling party should be a bit high-handed, should not be too simple,
Should be arrogant.
should not be too down to earth,
Should not
be
love God.
arrogant, shouldn't even be too godly. That politics, you've heard the background we've led, making references once in a while to the fact that many people view politics as being dirty. So when you juxtapose these realistic views held by not a few, with your kind of personnel, with your character traits, but with your leadership style, how does it make you feel that you are able to weather the storm and stay through, almost getting to the end of your first tenure? Even though we know the circumstances that led to your emergence, you've not actually done 4 years, but you're on the verge of, getting to the end of your tenure. How do you manage these two complexities?
Yeah, like I said shortly a while ago, my support has been the Most High God. And when you believe the scriptures as I do, nothing really will bother you much as you stand for the truth. The processes in the party, we have the party constitution, and when we are getting into the congresses like we are planning now, you have the guidelines. And so if you stand by the truth and what you know is the truth, God will be there for you. And there may be people that will say, no, it's not the way it should. Like I always say, I take inspiration from the scriptures. Because if you look at the scripture, you see when Nehemiah came out to rebuild the ruins in Jerusalem, there were a lot of obstacles. People came out. You think you can do this. It's not possible. You can't do it. And when he started doing it, they looked for other means to stop him. And at a point, they blackmailed him that he wants to become the king. So it's exactly what's happening, because the scripture, I know very well, say there's nothing that really new on the surface of the sun. So these things are there, and are there in the scripture. So Nehemiah had so much challenges, but at the end of the day, he rebuilt the temple in Jerusalem. So when you have God, and you have the word of God, you will say to do anything, you are likely to have some of these obstacles. You have but then you keep on doing it and tell people this is the right way to go. Okay, we can then use this to correct the impression that politics is all dirty, and it's not.
Okay, so my last shots in this lap before I yield the floor to our lead anchor, Akparawa Michael Bush. Now, let's look at the People's Democratic Party that you joined in 1998. Compare it with the current day PDP. Forget about the fact that you are state chairman. PDP is not a state party, it's a national party. So when you look at the party you joined in 1998 and the state of the party at the moment, how does it make you feel about the travails, the realities that have shaped this party over the years? For instance, when you consider the number of states that the party held on to power in, compared to what is the position at the moment, how do you feel?
Chairman, please, you add it to this one and also answer. You also have to compare your PDP with your UPN. Okay. That's all, because for people who was not there, Francis was not there. In fact, Francis doesn't even know what you mean by UPN. So please carry Francis along. That's number one. Then number two, your emergence too as PDP chairman and how it's been so far. So that by the time you come back from that, we just take straight and get into.
Okay, well, for us, right from 1999, it has been it was PDP at the national level until 2015 when we lost. But in Akwa Ibom State, there has been PDP, and we thank God for this. This has allowed for continuity in programs of government, programs of the party, projects here and there. At the national level, we lost out, and I will attribute that to nature of man. What man is, some people feel politics, if I'm not the one, no other person. Rather, the party can cheer to pieces, they don't mind. And so that's why you see they move and they come back, they go here, return and all that. So, but in Akwa Ibom State, I can really say that because this is where I'm really involved. We've had level of consistency by the grace of God. Consistency because we've held on to the party constitution, we've held on to our leaders who have been there. Some of the leaders who were there right from 1998 are still here, guiding the processes and so on. Some of them may not have even contested election or had appointment, but then they're there, and we can always take advice from them. They're always there. We go to them. So how was this? They will tell you the story, how they started the party and how they came to Akwa Ibom State. And so you become guided by what they advise you. Don't allow the party to crumble, do this. So in these situations, you need a lot of sacrifice. Because when people are coming out to contest, everybody says, I'll be the winner, I'll win, I must win. And if you have 10 aspirants looking for one single position, one person will win. And you need to find a way to call the other 9 people together. Maybe 9 can accept, but maybe 1 can decide to move. And so that has been the situation. Some will move until return. So at the national level, we are trying to rebuild because we've lost some states actually because of this crisis within.
Okay.
The crisis within. So talking about UPN, that was before this dispensation. The era of Awolowo, Zikiwe, Mino Kanu and all that. So at that time, I can talk about the UPN because I was really interested in that party. Papa Awolowo was the leader and was always the presidential candidate. The leader and presidential candidate. They combined as chairman of the party, leader of the party,
and presidential candidate.
The party. So no go area. He will guide the processes in all the states, how they feel. But it was a formidable party.
Yes.
Formidable party.
Absolutely.
Because of its the principles.
I know that there are still some questions I need to ask you, but we need to go now live to London in the United Kingdom. Even as we open the stanza, this time now we're going to be discussing Governor Umoino of Akwa Ibom at 1. He's celebrating his first anniversary as governor. And our first virtual guest, Minister Kufre Okon, is in London. He joins us now. Minister, how is London? How are you?
Chairman, Honorable Lanye Khan, and I'm so happy to see all of you.
Yeah.
So London is fine, and I'm good. Good morning.
How's your family?
Yeah, my family is fine. My people are quite good. Everyone is fantastic.
Yeah, I know that you are an Umoino person because I know you've been on this program since we started this series. That, by the way, ends next Friday. You joined us from London, but and you spoke so highly of what the governor has done. But today is about the political party. Are you a PDP member? Will you say?
I can vividly say I'm a PDP member. Yes, I haven't gone to any other party ever since I've been involved in politics. I've never had any experience from any other party. My political leader there, Honorable Turo Colomba, can testify.
Sure is not looking for trouble.
Political.
He can be his political leader, not political leader of the church.
Yes, okay. He can be political leader of the church. Okay, Minister, I know that Francis is here, Toro is here. We're playing host to the state chairman. You yourself, you have your own questions. They may also have their own questions. But my first question to you would be about the chairman who is seated here. Yes, I know that you're also going to be discussing the governor, what is done politically that impressed you. But this state chairman, the Right Honorable Elder Anekan Simon Akpan, has been there 3 years. And he became chairman long before you moved with your family to the UK. So at least you experienced some part of his chairmanship. What manner of chairman has he been? What manner of political leader has he been? Especially when you look at it against the background of others, you know, when you look at all the things that he's done, how will you describe the state chairman of PDP, the Right Honorable Elder Nekan Simon Akpan?
Yeah, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to talk about this man that I've never been able to speak about him before. I like to say that before I left, I was fortunate to be in his local government, Ibesikpo Sultan.
Whose local government area?
Yes, Ibesikpo Sultan local government area. I worked there as a minister of the gospel in the church, and so I was able to experience some of the things that went on when he was chairman of the party. And I can say that he did a good job. He was a good loyalist of the party. I can testify that with the things he did, he showed that he loves the party and was committed to it. He did it with passion.
Yes, we are.
Some of the things, yes, he did it with passion. And, you know, almost all the time that this man comes on board, anytime he talks about the party things, anytime he talks about his governance, he would end with prayers and with God. And we're thinking that this man could have been from a pastoral background. But, you know, before the next party chairman came up, he established a good ground, you know, for the party to survive in the state. Survive in the state in such a way that there was this inclusivity, all local government, people working together. And during his time, you know, the party registered great strides in the state, in the local government, you know. And so I give it to him that he did a nice job. He was able to coordinate the party in the state, coordinate it at the local government level, and made everyone inclusive in his government so that the PDP could realize what they had achieved as at that time when he was party chairman. So he's a great man.
Are we mixing it up? Are we talking about another person? Minister Kufre Okon,
Yeah.
you know, the man that is on set is the current state chairman of the PDP, and he comes from Mukanafun.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay, fine. So I didn't see his face clearly.
Okay, you thought he was a former chairman. Okay.
Yeah, he made the party chairman shortly before I left.
Okay, yes.
Yeah, so I can say a little about him.
Yeah.
He's the man who led the party while the Honorable Colombo led us,
Yes.
showed us leadership that we went to do primaries for the present leadership of our state. And I noticed that while this man was there in the short time, as he said, there was this peaceful coordination. In fact, that was the time I contested to become one of the representatives at my ward level. And I saw that the way things were was not as it used to be, you know, where you can see people walk in lines and the materials had come and people had to identify the persons that they are going to stand in for. And at the end of the day, the process went peacefully and people were happy. There was no much hitches between the party and the governance and everything. And other leaders of the party were very happy. I remember when I met him in Ikotekpene while he made his speech, while we went there to vote for the senatorial candidate, and the speech he made, he reminded us that this is our own party, because Akwa Ibom has been PDP since the inception that I came in. And we saw the result when it was announced, because everyone followed suit, and we did perfectly well because of his leadership.
Okay,
so
because
for that short time I knew him, I think he did a good job.
Absolutely. I know that you have to go to work. But let's just do and let you go. My final question to you, Minister Kufre Okon, in London would be about Governor Umoino. He's celebrating, he's marking his first year in office. And I ask you now, are there things this governor has done that impress you politically?
Yes, definitely. Pastor Umoino has not disappointed me. I'm not sure he has disappointed anybody. Because this man, against the background that he came in, most people did not expect that this man was going to do most of the things he's done now within this short time. You know, when he came in, there was serious tension, and he made people not to believe in him. I remember the first statement he made when he went in to see the then governor, Mr. Udom Emmanuel. He said, "I am the least qualified amongst the persons that people could have thought would have been in this position." And so, against that background of serious tension politically, people accusing him, you are not qualified, not this and that, today we can see clearly peaceful coexistence in our state between the state leadership and the national leadership. Even if in the leadership is not about PDP, but he's able to harness, he's able to coordinate, he's able to understand vision. So I call him a man of peaceful leadership vision, such that we do not have much tension. He's able to calm it down, and we can now look at governance. So that's one of the things I see of him. And then I can also see that this man is able to identify with people of different classes, no matter the level you are. This man is able to identify with you. And this can only be said about a man, you know, who has been in business, a man that has met several classes of persons, a man that has interacted with people of different categories. So I see the governor as being someone that has been touched by people at different levels before he emerged to become a governor. And now he's now looking back from where he came from to see that he can make the dividends of governance to get back to those persons at the different levels that they are. I would not fail to mention about the few road network I've seen when I came in, like a month or something weeks ago. He has done so much, at least in that area. And I know that if we give him the opportunity to lead the state in peace, if we say our belief in him and encourage this man, I do believe that he's going to do so much at the end of his 4 years. And we can also believe that if he does well, that the people of Kwabese will now say, fine, the other time you came in on your own, this other time we want to see that we ask you to go back and sustain what you have done. So the governor is doing very well, and he is my man. He will continue to be my man. And I'm happy that, yes, I'm happy that that one vote that I sent in during the primaries has not failed me.
You didn't give one vote. Your wife too voted, and you have such a huge vote.
He said during the primaries.
Yes.
So he was a delegate.
Yes, he was.
Yes, he was. He was a delegate. He was a delegate.
Yeah.
He was a delegate.
I'm referring to the primaries.
Yes.
My wife was not in the primaries.
Okay.
My wife was in the general election.
Okay.
And I was not
Okay, I get it.
in the general
I get
elections. Yeah.
I get it.
So, and I must thank my leader, Roberto Columba, because apart from him, I'm not sure I had strong belief in the governor, Umoino, before he became governor. He is a person. In fact, let me say that I believed in the present governor through Honorable Columba, because he is the one who spoke me into understanding that this man, can do what we are seeing today. So I must thank him for making me to believe in a man that I didn't even know And now I can now believe in him by what I have seen him do, apart from Honorable Columbus.
Minister Kufre Okoni, enough for today. Go to work. Go to work, Minister. And try to go to church. You are more of a politician now in the UK. Okay. I hope that you don't become a UK politician. Conservative.
No, but we need people like...
Absolutely. Say me well. Say us well to your family. Thank you so much. Okay, so Chairman, Minister Kufre Okoni in London has led the stage. So we just jump straight into that. By the way, let me say that next we'll be going to Australia. We'll be going to Australia. We also look to go to Lagos and as well as the US in the course of the program. Pastor Moino as governor, what kind of politician do you think he's been? So that once it comes from me, it goes to Francis. My two questions, I'll just ask them at once. What kind of politician do you think he's been? And secondly, even more importantly, looks like he's taking care of the party. He meets the party more frequently than any other governor in our history. Can that be wrong?
Thank you, Bush. And when we talk about politicians, I cannot really give a very clear definition. Maybe we leave that to political scientists. If there's really a correct definition of who a politician is. But I can talk about His Excellency Pastor Omobasi, and his involvement. He has been in business, a businessman, and he has succeeded in business before being active in politics, because this is the first time he has contested election, though he had had an appointment here and there in government. And so I see him as a pastor, I see him as a businessman that God has brought into Akwa Ibom State at this time as the governor. And he followed through the process in the party. You know, at that period, I keep on saying people were speculating there was going to be, crisis, going to be problem, because maybe they had their own expectation. But God being with us, we had a very smooth process through the primaries. I'm so happy that somebody out there, by the grace of God, a minister who was part of the process, that few people said it was not done. I'm so happy that somebody can testify that it was part of the process, even at the world level, where the delegates were elected. When the delegates were elected, he said he was elected as a delegate in his own ward center, and became a delegate to the Congress that brought Pastor Omaino as governor. And so that is a clear testimony that the party followed the rules, and we did the correct thing. Along the line, people were saying, oh, there were no primaries at the world level, which is not correct. So even by the time they went to court, God's still with us. And we now have the governor having won the primaries and having won the election, now the governor of Akwa Ibom State. And people are already testifying just 1 year in office. And so you can see that there is hand of God that is coming on board.
And it's really shocking. He's very supportive of the party. He's
very, 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 very supportive, because he keeps on saying that the party is the platform. And his own platform, the party is PDP. And so he knows that we are talking about party politics. And so he has to keep the party strong.
Is he a good politician, Pastor Moino?
By this definition, and with support for the party, I affirm.
Francis.
Okay. Let's still stay on the political aspect on that track. Governor Pastor Moino, from after emerging as the gubernatorial candidate of the People's Democratic Party, extended olive branch. After emerging as the governor of Akwa Ibom State, he did the same thing consistently to people within the PDP and outside of the PDP. And so far, 1 year down the line, he has still consistently made efforts, secretly, publicly, to build bridges across political party lines. And this is a new narrative that we have not seen in Akwa Ibom before now. How does that sit with your party?
Bush has just asked a question. I can now affirm again that His Excellency the Governor is a good politician. By my own definition, it's a good politician because he has consistently said politics is over. Politics of having go through the primaries of your party and the electioneering campaigns all through the local government, the wards and all that. And he has now emerged governor. He becomes the governor of Akwa Ibom State, not necessarily the governor of PDP. PDP is a party, but he's now the governor of Akwa Ibom State, and he wants everybody to believe that, and he has shown that, and he's so consistent that he's known for everybody. I think by this is what the way is going on with the administration of the state. A lot of other people that are in other parties are now even moving to the party. But the man has said, the governor has said he needs the support of the people. Whether you move to a party or not, he needs the support so that he can continue the programs and the projects he's handling in the state. So within 1 year already there are a lot of testimonies to what he has done. Inclusiveness within the party and even within the state. He's doing projects and the programs he's doing is for everybody. And in our party, we are happy that he's doing this because we know that it wouldn't affect, it will even improve our showing in the elections thereafter. So we cannot sit back to say, oh, because the governor is reaching out to people. The people are willingly coming out to join the party and joining to support the government because of what he's doing. So it's good for the party. So we appreciate that.
Okay, so let me follow up on that question raised by Francis. I know you're a very frank person. You know, you admit to realities. Now, Chairman, let's place the governor's leadership style, you know, side by side, realities side by side, norms and mores and traditions, how things have always been done. There is no doubt, as you rightly said, his approach has brought tremendous results. Someone said the other day that these days you hardly know who is the spokesperson of the opposition political parties, because more often than not you get to know them when they are out on the mass media to criticize the governor. But these days you can hardly, you know, tell. There seems to be a seamless, you know, a following of the governor, and that means the governor's style, you know, really worked. But at the initial stage when this happened, did it not look to you like something that was too strange? You have been in politics long enough. You know that the issue of defection always comes close to when the next election is on the verge of taking place. You know that it's ordinarily odd, you know, for a sitting governor to have the kind of embrace, the kind of warm relationship he currently has with, for instance, the number 3 man in the country, the Senate president. So
an opposition
when all of
figure.
this, yes, an opposition figure. So when all of this started, were you not afraid that it was most likely the governor was taking the wrong steps, considering the tradition and the norms of how these things have always been done?
Yes, as chairman, as a person, I was not afraid. But I must confess that some people started talking to me. Oh, the way the governor is going, don't you think it will affect the party? I said it will not affect the party. I've always said this governor has come in with a lot of innovations. You know, innovation has to do with departure from
The norms.
the normal, yes. So whatever he does, all based on his experience. He said when he was going around the 31 local government communities to campaign, he got a lot of actions, reactions, people's suggestions and all that. And he discovered during the election that somehow the party has lost touch with the grassroots. And so immediately he came on board. He started some of these policies. For instance, when he gave us the assignment of bringing up his personal aid, at least he wanted one to one to get the way of getting back, reaching back to the world, the real communities, the rural communities. That was quite different from what it used to be. Maybe the governor coming on board would have said, okay, chairman, and so person, give me 2 names, give me 3 names. No, he said, go back to the ward. Let the ward people give me a name. And in fact, the interesting issue on this matter, when we're having it, you know it now.
I do.
So you were part of it.
I do.
That we allow the wards, and sometimes if they were even doing election to bring up somebody as PA for the governor. So that is something that really takes democracy down to the grassroots. People getting involved. Inclusiveness is what the governor is talking about. So it's something that has strengthened the party at the grassroots level. So in this, I was not afraid. I knew what he was doing. But some people were thinking, this is not the way. And I think this governor is quite a governor that says, no, why can't we do it differently this time? Because if you look at the way it has always been, it is not very, very good for democracy. One person acting the, leader. Let's go down. Let others be part of it, be involved. For a governor to say, okay, this project I want to do, let everybody in that community go and sit down and say, okay, do it here. Let it be this one. We need a health center. We need a primary school and all that. That is really democracy. That is really democracy.
Okay.
Taken to the grassroots level.
All right. So he's on the verge of clocking 1 year in office. And, pundit would say that Akwa Ibom is a very rich state. Fantastic. We've seen what the governor has done. And according to him, he's doing a bottom-top approach. He's starting from the basics, reaching out to the grassroots, ensuring that the civil servants, both serving and retired, are well taken care of. But some pundits are still of the opinion that Akwa Ibom is too rich. Akwa Ibom is just too rich for us at this time, almost 1 year in office, for us not to see a signature direction of the governor. We're yet to see a signature project or even a pointer to the fact that we're about to have one. Do you share in that sentiment?
Well, it depends on what people call signature project. I think what this governor takes as signature is the rural people. So he has not left anybody in doubt, saying strictly, we are going to the rural communities. Let these people also have a touch, a feeling of governance. So it's not every time you talk about overhead bridge. There are other smaller bridges.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because a few days ago we were in Oborokara, and the governor went there to commission the bridge that he has completed within this 1 year. And this bridge was so important for communities in Oborokara, Esierudim and Ikorekbene. People were turning round and round and round from Oborokara and Toedino and adjoining communities. You have to go through Ikorekbene to access Esierudim. Whereas this bridge is just crossing to the communities in Esierudim and getting to. So these are the signature projects of this administration. The projects that you have in the rural areas, and you can see the excitement of the people of that community. So to me, in fact, on that spot, the governor also awarded a contract for another bridge that is within the community there to link up the people so that their lives, it can be very difficult this time when people have to travel kilometers before reaching the adjoining community. So let's continue with those projects for now. For me, it's signature.
They're fine signatures.
Yes.
Okay, I think it's my turn.
Yes,
Signature project, and I'll pick up from there. One of the things the governor has said in recent times is the fact that he intends to complete all the projects that were kickstarted by his predecessor, the previous administration. And for the longest time in Akwa Ibom State, the problem of continuity by successive administration has been a problem. I take your mind back to the science pack from the administration of architect Don Victor. Just recently, we have the State House of Assembly, trying to get a law up to get that place working. As an Akwa Ibomite, I'm not asking this as the PDP chairman. What do you think Governor Pastor Omoino's drive of making sure uncompleted projects are completed would mean for Akwa Ibom?
Yeah, for me, I think in Akwa Ibom, we really seen the hand of God because of the fact that the successive administration have been PDP, PDP, PDP. So we've not really had many of the projects abandoned. If we can go back to the airport project, it was still the TAS era, and followed up by the Fabio administration. And
even Udom did something.
So the airport plane started landing, and when Governor Udom came, something different, fantastic. So why can't we have an airline of our own?
Absolutely.
So you see addition. So, but we have had this science park. I don't know details of what really happened because I know that successive administration have tried in one way or the other going back to that project. But I don't know whatever technical issues were there. So, but we don't have many of the abandoned projects in Akwa Ibom. So we've had a situation where governors come in and what they want to continue. But I think for Pastor Omaina, it's very clear, and he has started to show. By Monday, we will commission the expanded airport road, which his predecessor in office started, and he has completed it now, ready. And by the grace of God, he has said he'll bring back the former governor, middle past governor, to come and touch it, because he actually started. We've gone to commission a few projects, and he clearly stated on those marbles, this project was started by.
Wow.
So completed because he wants to give credit to the person who started the project. So he's not the man that will say, okay, let me start my own. He's starting his own project. He's also commissioning his own project, the one he has started. But he wants to ensure, because these projects are meant for the people. Look at the airport road now. From Oron Road down to the airport. You can see, by the time you come in, or any visitor coming in from the airport, you can really see what Akwa Ibom is.
Okay, Chairman, let me help you. Let me rescue you from Francis. Francis is an Auro man. He has some sentiments about that road. And I don't want us to go there because we don't have time, Chairman. Chairman, I'm taking all of us.
I think Francis will be very happy very soon.
Very soon, okay.
Yeah.
I can't wait for that happiness.
I'm now talking as a politician and chairman and a prophet.
Amen.
Okay. Amen.
And Chairman also prophesy about the road that brought you here.
Yeah.
Would Mr. Tony Afia, the family?
I've seen that the indication that something had been done. So we are talking about completion.
Yeah. Fantastic. Chairman. This chairman. You just joining us. It's Rise and Shine, the flagship breakfast show on Spectrum TV. And as we do this, in honor of Governor Umoino of Akwa Ibom, because he's celebrating his first anniversary, the state chairman of the party, the Right Honorable Elder Nathan Simon Akpan is here. PDP is a party, by the way, and we're just doing that. Two sister stations, Planet 101.1 FM and Tangsio 102.7 FM. It's also part of the bouquet this morning, reaching out to our people. We're going live now to Australia, the end of the world. Engineer Nsisong Akpakan should be on the line. Nsisong, how is Australia? Good morning from Nigeria.
Good afternoon from Australia. Australia is fine. How are you folks?
Yes, very nice to see you. Studio, you just will make sure we can hear Nsisong loud and clear. And Nsisong, what time is it in Australia now?
It's 5:25 p.m. Melbourne time.
5:30. You said Melbourne time?
Yeah.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Melbourne time. Do you have different time zones in Australia?
Yes, we do. So Perth is like 3 hours behind. So it's different time zone, but it's a very large one.
Terry, please help us with the sound. We can barely hear. Just help us with the sound. Okay, so Nsisong, the last time you were on this program, and by the way, you're just coming out of work, so we apologize to you. But thank you for joining us. The state chairman of PDP is here. You're a new political party. That's where you're going to next. Is here. And my own is to call people for the PDP. So, Nsisong, the last time you were here, you told us how you were an Omoino person, but you were not exactly sure of PDP. You were just this kind of guy. But the state chairman is here, and I'm sure you'll be listening to him the great things he's said, and the fantastic work he's done with the party. What do you feel about PDP now, since I'm putting you exactly on the spot?
Okay. So okay. I don't know. This is just putting me on the spot. But in all honesty, right? I am a big fan of Umoimo. And at the end of the day, if I intend to join politics, right? Politics is finding right mentors. Like, you're one of my mentors when it comes to political issues. So at the rate Umoimo is going in Akwa Ibom State, I might be a PDP member if the chairman allows me to join. But for now, I'm really impressed by Umoimo's attitude towards leadership, right? Because at the end of the day, leadership is about creating people that can learn from you, right? So I wouldn't mind him being a leader. I wouldn't mind him being someone that I look up to because of his character and how he approaches power. Yeah.
What really? I have Francis. I have Itoro, and even the state chairman, in case they have questions to ask you. But this will be my last question to you in this song. Every time you come on, you say Governor Moino in just 1 year. And by the way, you've come twice in the last 2-3 months. You've come twice to the country. So I ask you, what really has this governor done to impress you like this in this song?
Okay. So there are a lot of things. I'm just going to point because of time. And first of all, right, he's very humble. His approach to leadership is that of, humility. Okay, and he's more people oriented than politics oriented. Let me explain what I mean by that. So people oriented is doing things that favor the people more than it favors you politically. The last time I think I mentioned paying gratuity to workers that don't have political value. So instead of giving it to party structures to increase his position and fan base, he's helping out the poor, people that worked for their money and couldn't get access to it, right? That's commendable. The other thing is running a system that does not encourage disrespect. Let me explain. So in some political parties, someone is another party, he's useless, write things against him. Moino doesn't play that. And why? And you might see that as a sign of weakness. It's not, because you don't respond to jabs, you respond to punches, right? So if you're throwing jabs, I'm the governor, I don't have to respond to you or disrespect you other than me. So those kind of characters is what makes, people want to be associated, personally, my opinion, I don't know, it's just my personal opinion, the chairman.
Okay.
So yes.
Engineer, I like where you're coming from, the standpoint of the governor in terms of what we used to know or is still being referred to, especially within the social media space, as bulldogs of the government. Because before now, you find some media aides, even when the previous administration would say, okay, we don't want that to be the practice, but the aides of the governors, some of them were still involved in that. But we've seen Governor Pastor Umoino become a lot more deliberate. I'd like to ask, where do you foresee that taking us to politically? Because you're looking at a situation where we don't have political parties or the stakeholders within these political parties fighting, or their bulldogs fighting themselves.
Okay, so like I said, it's people oriented. Okay, at the end of the day, so okay, let me give a very typical example, right? By 2027, I would personally come down to campaign for Umoino, right? So that's one extra vote. Okay, he has to run for 8 years. So 2027, I have to personally make time and come. So now, at the end of the day, it's not about party now. Sorry, I'm not political, like I said.
Okay, so Chairman, you have the loyalists right away.
Yeah. He will still be campaigning under the PDP.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the government is.
As long as the character is fine, yeah, it's fine. But PDP, I know PDP, right? And he's doing a good job. So if he continues doing what he's doing, nobody's going to take him out. The citizens will stand by him, right? And that automatically means standing by PDP, So you PDP guys, sorry, with all due respect, should keep on putting up decent people for political posts, Because that's how you maintain leadership. So if you bring up people that have integrity, humility, understands leadership, not the kind that will just come because they have power, they want to abuse people, and So if you keep on bringing those, you will now attract more people to your party. That's just my personal opinion. It's not about, so it's the character of the guys that you guys bring up that will make people decide, okay, I like this party, I want to join this party. Even the young ones that are not up to the age of joining political parties yet. That's just my personal opinion.
Okay, Engineer Pakam, before we let you go, I like the fact that from being a very close fan and adherent of Pastor Omoyano. You have eventually become a member of the
PDP.
People's Democratic Party. And it's quite interesting when you see an Akwa Ibom person in the diaspora, speaking,
Absolutely.
freely. Freely and falling in love with what is happening
Absolutely.
back home. And I seem to understand where your sentiment comes from. You are a very regular visitor to home. Now, when you compare yourself with others who have always been, back there in the diaspora, that don't visit home once in a while, they seem to hold a different opinion. For instance, there was a time in the past that it looked as though Akwa Ibom diasporan community was consistently antagonistic to the government that happened, that was here back at home, and I tend to lend credence to the fact that happened because some of those who unduly criticize successive governments were not regular visitors to Akwa Ibom. So my question would be, what are you doing within the Akwa Ibom community in Australia? That's where he is.
Yes.
To win more souls, to get more of our people to not only be armchair critics, but to get in touch with what is happening at home, appreciate what they seem to see is happening well, and then criticize those things that are not going on well.
Absolutely.
Yes, and then bring investment back up.
Okay, yes, and thank you for your question. So we have an Akwa Ibom association here in Australia, Melbourne branch. Okay, and every month, end of the month, we have the next one is next week. So we sit down and discuss things that are happening back home. Okay, so because we are not sponsored by any political parties, an independent organization, you can now hear your views based on facts, not sentiment. Okay, then that process, I will come into you and tell you, listen, there was a teacher. I did all my education in Nigeria. My primary school teacher, Mrs. Kaite, she did not get her gratuity. She
Retired.
Retired, I think, 13, 14 years ago. And she was struggling, not married, no kids, right? She's blind now. She was struggling to get access to her phone. This is money she actually worked for. And she couldn't get that. But I remember at one point when the governor was campaigning during when he was campaigning for this post, and the boss, Michael Bush, asked him, what's up with gratuities? What are you guys going to do about it? And the tone was, because he's a very humble guy, his body language expresses humility. So he said, no, quietly, we'll do something about it. It's normal way of saying things. 3 weeks ago, my brother called me that Mr. Kaita had been paid a gratuity. And let me tell you the interesting part. She did not campaign for it. She did not go to stand in the queue. She did not have to go bribe someone. She just woke up and there was money in her account. What does that tell you? So if I go to this meeting next week or whenever, I will tell you the facts. I will cite an example. This is someone that I know personally, right? And when I tell this fact, you have to counter with something that is more tangible than just propaganda. Okay. So I think if more people get involved by speaking truth to power and saying things the facts, saying like the chairman said about completion of the airport road, that's actually where the road to my village, So you could have come in and said, okay, I want to start a new project just to make a name for myself. But it is following due process to get things done. How can you fight that? So if you go to these meetings, maybe people will come in with their political affiliation and sentiment, but we'll tell them the truth and the facts. Go and verify, like Peter Obi would say, And when you keep saying this, people will now understand that this is beyond politics. This is reality because people's lives are involved. So I think that's the best we are doing for now, and we'll continue.
Engineer Nsisong Akwakan, just before we let you go, let your new political party chairman welcome you to the party. The right honorable elder Aneka Simon. By the way, it's from my village.
Let me really appreciate you for keeping touch with home and coming down from time to time to see how we are faring back home. And by the grace of God, you are doing well. I was just trying to add to what Itoro was saying. Whatever you are doing, you are keeping touch. Whatever investment opportunities are available there, this governor is quite ready, willing to accept investors. Those of you that are there in the diaspora, you can bring your friends from there to invest. We have all the areas in agriculture, whatever we can do to help our state. I thank you for the patriotism and all our brothers and sisters over there. Thank you and God bless you. Welcome to PDP.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
So engineer, Your next visit, just remind me, I take you on a visit to the state chairman so that we can get you a party card at that level. Okay. Many thanks for joining. You can go and rest. Go and just
Thank
sleep.
you.
Thank you.
All right, thank
It
you.
was very nice. Very nice to have had you.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so back to the state chairman now. There's something that is, very striking that's happening in Akwa Ibom when you compare it to, for instance, our next door neighbor, River State. Let's talk about the political mentor-mentee relationship. You know what?
Absolutely.
What,
I'm happy that you
yes,
raised
you know
that.
what's
Yes.
happening in River State compared to what is happening in Akwa
And it's still
Ibom.
your political party.
Absolutely, my political party. So, how does it make you feel that Akwa Ibom has always been in the news, for positive things as compared to what's happening elsewhere? Just do an overview of. You understand what I'm saying? Mentee, mentor, political relationship.
Yeah, there is the issue of mentor and mentee is not new, not strange. It may not end soon, but you need the grace of God because
Yes. Especially as a mentee.
as a mentee, you need
Yeah.
the grace of God.
Absolutely.
Even as a mentor,
No, yes.
You also
Sure.
you need to be
Sure.
properly guided. You know that yes, you assisted somebody to come and back. You also allow that person to operate, because he may come in with his own ideas, which may be different from what you had, and so you allow some gap. But definitely, again, I will say that there is the grace of God in the land of Akwa Ibom, and we've not had issues. And so, compared to what's happening elsewhere, the nature of human. So,
What's the party chairman doing nationally to get back into reckoning? Because it looks like rather than even going up, sometimes your party. What's been done? Is there anything being done for the party to jump back to the national stage?
yeah, the processes are on. Recently we had NEC that we've not had for 1 year, and at that meeting, a lot of issues were handled, and by August, by the grace of God, we are going to have another NEC meeting. That is the body that takes final decisions. So, but we have processes going on now for congresses to be held in many states where the executive has finished their tenure and all of that. So at that next meeting, other matters are going to be discussed that has to do with having a substantive national chairman and preparing for next convention and all of that. At that next meeting too, we had 2 committees on discipline to look at issues that affect a lot of things that happen during the 2023 elections, and also a constitution review committee that has to look at the constitution and what can be brought in.
Constitution of the party.
Yes, to strengthen the party.
Okay.
So,
Terry, we should have the number on the screen so that as Francis takes over, we can have just 3 calls and then come back to the live studios. And if there's somebody on the line, do we have a virtual guest? Can we go to Lagos? Terry, is Lagos on the line? Our man in Lagos, Dan Crusabier. If it's not there, the radio audience, the phone number, okay, Dan Crusabier is there, and I'm going to allow him in the hands of another Iconian. That's what they call themselves, Iconian. Okay, so but before Dan Crusabier comes on from Lagos, let's just quickly say that 0704 541 7707, that's the number for the radio audience, 0704 541 7707. We just take 3 calls, Terry, and then come right back. But right now, Lagos, Ikono to Ikono.
Okay, so Chris, good morning to you. It's good to have you join us. Hello, can you hear us? I think we seem
The studios, we cannot hear Chris.
The audio.
Okay, let's just go on. Go on.
Okay. All right. So, State Chairman, we're on the verge of marking the first anniversary of this government. On the whole, you were the one that led all of us, campaigning, crisscrossing the length and breadth of Akwa Ibom State, campaigning for Pastor Omoyeno. You heard some of the things he promised, connecting the dots, issues of low-hanging fruit, ensuring that he re-establishes the middle class. When you put all of the promises he made to the people side by side, what he has been able to do in 1 year, considering the fact that he still had 3 at the first, the first instance to go. On the whole, how does it make you feel as the state chairman?
Looks like our first caller is there before we come to the state chairman. Our first caller, many thanks for joining us. Your name, where are you calling from?
Yes, good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, the Honorable Chairman, Executive Chairman, PDP in the Kwagwem State.
Executive chairman, I like it.
Good morning. Just chairman, not executive chairman.
Please, my name is Ama Okonetum. I'm calling from into local government area. I'm so delighted to join this program this morning. It's my fault to be here. Mr. Fancy said he really knows me very well. I'm a man of in need. I don't want to talk about what's going on, but right now I'm in need. My life is in danger. I'm dying of hunger and starvation. My house is collapsed. So I really need to be rescued. Our governor has done a lot. And the only problem that the people that they put in place are not really matters. Like in my locality, the food process have been regulated, but we are here. Yet the matter is yet to materialize over here. I wish Mr. Fancy said that really discuss this with the honorable chairman of our great party. Please, let me come to my help. I'm dying. God bless you all. God bless you. I'm blessed and they will come no more. Thank you, sir.
Amen. Yes, let's go back to the question.
Okay, yeah. You had a question, Chairman? No, we leave that. I think we can always deal with that after the program. And
Yes.
good enough, you mentioned Francis said it. So Francis
can take over. Francis knows his address.
Back to the question I raised. You were there leading the governor through the campaigns, traversing the length and breadth of the entire state. You heard the promises he made. 1 year is on the verge of elapsing. Put together, place side by side the promises he made and what he has been able to do in about a year. Are you truly, as a very conscientious and frank analyst of political events, are you truly, satisfied and contented with the governor's performance?
1 year on.
1 year on.
Very satisfied. In all aspects. Very satisfied. All the programs, all these promises, the projects going on. All the local governments of the state. As we speak, in 1 year, there's no local government, 31 local government. There's no local government that we don't have government projects going on in this administration. Okay. And we want to talk about the programs of the government for the youth. We talk about those people that have recently graduated from late. I was so shocked that the Playboys were part of that graduation.
Oh, really?
And they came out, yes, and they said, yes, we had been part of this training program. And they have also received the 500,000. 2 days ago, they were in my office. I said, why are you coming here again? He said, you promised us that you add something to...
Chairman, sorry, we have to just pause you for a while and take this call. Good morning, welcome to Rise and Shine. Your name and where you're calling us from?
Okay, my name is Inhebo Frank. I'm calling from Ikono in Intact Local Government.
All right, welcome. Go ahead.
I appreciate the program this morning. I thank Bush South Africa and my boss, Honorable Robert Colomba, and the PDP Executive Chairman. The governor, our governor, the Excellency Umaino Party is doing very well. And God will bless you for the people of Akwa Ibom. And also in terms of the agricultural sector. I've seen what you have done, like me, though I don't cultivate previous years ago, but during this era now, I cultivate and I thank God what He's using the pastor to do. For those that do not have homes, He has built homes for them. For road networks, the governor is good and God will bless him for us. I thank Bush South Africa for what He's doing. May God bless Akwa Ibom State.
Amen. +234, because I don't know why the number is not there for especially the international audience. +234 if you are calling from outside of Nigeria. Otherwise, it's simply 0704 541 7707. So +234 704 541-7707. Okay, that number is there now. Francis, you should shoot at the chairman.
Well, Chairman, I think a lot of people are commending your candidate and should be
And his leadership as well.
Yes, and your leadership. It should really be a beautiful morning for you. But
Well, it didn't used to be like this. Anytime the political party chairman will come, they'll be throwing sticks on air. You won't even open the phone lines.
Okay, so Chairman, future. 1 year is done. We're looking into the next year.
What guarantees?
And yes, exactly.
That's always their question.
Definitely. There have been some instances within this 1 year that the governor has given a directive, for instance, and his trusted aides failed to carry out that directive 3 months after, 6 months after. And so that has given birth to rumors, speculations, assumptions that there are saboteurs within this administration who are not interested in helping the governor fulfill his intention and agenda for the Akwa Ibom people. Now, in your earlier statement, you talk about the ward leaders, and like the one of the callers stated this morning, some of these appointees of the governor seem to work against, the PAs seems to work against the efforts that the governor is doing. So that comes back to your party. What steps are you putting in place to ensure that if people who are supposed to be the eyes and ears of the governor, help the governor actualize his purpose for Akwa Ibom, are not doing their job, they can be shown the door out and the right people or people who have the right mindset brought in?
Well, I will start by saying there is a lot of danger in assumption. And so I will not sit here to discuss issues based on assumption. But I assure you, any of this that comes to the notice of the governor, I know the man that he is. And recently he sounded that warning. When he gives directive, he talks with precision and gives a timeline. This thing, I want it. When we were in Oboroka a few days ago, and he said he won the school premises that we had that inauguration. He said, I want this school to be pulled down so that we have a model school. He gave a strict guideline. Anywhere he goes, I will tell them. We were in Ibesikbo and the other day when we inaugurated the Model Health Center. He told the commissioner, this is exactly what I want here. He approved the recruitment of medical staff and instructed that the lady, the nurse that was there at the beginning, when we did not have that beautiful infrastructure, has to be retained there. He gives specific instructions. And if there are cases of people that will not want to follow, then definitely you can be sure that he will really take action on it. But if it comes to my notice as party chairman, I take it up with the governor. I pull it up.
Okay.
I'll bring that to his notice.
Okay, State Chairman, it looks like the Right Honorable Victor Colomba has a follow-up question. Maybe we'll just put that in the cooler because the last time he was supposed to take us to Lagos, the thing developed technical issues. So I don't want to trust him again with that Lagos trip so that we don't crash land again. Let me trust Francis this time. Francis, Dan Chris AP is waiting for us in Lagos. Take us there.
Well, Dan, good morning. How are you today?
Oh.
Well, that's Nigerian network.
We have 3 minutes.
All right, so Dan, you've been listening to the chairman. Let's hear you.
Let me see if I can put like 2 or 3 before we go away. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Pleasure to have you in the studio.
Good morning, sir.
Quickly, yes. The lack of internal democracy within political parties in Nigeria is one of our major issues, including the PDP. What step do you think should be taken to address this internal democracy? Because if the parties are not together and united, it affects the whole lot. So what do you think should be done in this regard? That's one. Looking at the because the said politics is local, but of course only local and national. What do you recommend as the lasting solution to the political improvement, within party structure, both at our state level and at the national, especially.
Okay. We have that technical issues again. Let the chairman answer the two that he got in.
Okay, internal democracy, if we are there, sir, I think it's desirable at all levels. That's when we can really make our democracy work. And for Akwa Ibom State, I can assure you, since I came on board 3 years ago, we have really done our best to ensure that our people are involved at all levels. That's what we've been doing. And that has been strengthened by the current leadership of the state, led by our governor, His Excellency, Pastor Omar Basieno. So internal democracy is desirable so that our democracy can work. Then talking about other parties, I think I can only talk about my own party. But I think the leadership is important because the leadership gives the guide as to what should be done. So coming back to PDP in Akwa Ibom State, there is this innovation by the governor ensuring that we have this bottom to top approach in whatever we do, the party structure, whatever we are doing, even in governance, ensuring that inputs come from rural communities and people come together to agree on whatever they want to do, even to the extent of suggesting projects to the government, what they think they desire, what is good for them. So I think this is a way of deepening democracy.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, let's hold your thought there before we wrap up. Good morning, welcome to Rise and Shine. Your name and where you're calling us from?
My name is Godwin Lapan. Can I speak in our language?
Please feel free.
Fire on. Thanks is on to.
Oh, Chairman, I give me the Kukom and Kukaraboke PDP.
That's all.
Kukom. And what be the Afkarabogan Wadi? Abasin Wapen Uto Karagov, no Jiren Karami, Adi, Uben Fianakadian. You mean the best Kukarafo.
That's all.
The chairman, I'm in Kon to Corodon, to row water, but chairman, I give me for now. Mpo Karapati, Gogan, me, a given a war party when it took Addis ticket, you will get water. Ade. Potaskara, my tongue to road 3. Ade to road 2. I say, if you walk with that party when you get better be now. Chairman, get party again. He meet in front of the gate for them.
Okay, it's gone. State chairman. Only you can answer that one. Only you. I have to answer in the language the man will understand. They will tell the international audience. Yes.
Can I speak?
Yes, please.
Please.
Ete Godwin. Sempe tanga den tum. Kempo de gwi de gi nam wo ni ma. Akpọ de ke nam kembe ngidem. Mmekom kpọmba atoro wo 3 ede. Ira ichenyen fon. Ye kure wo kem posiri na ne fon kene kenim. Sempe boro de.
Very beautiful.
Fantastic.
I even end them So the international audience, we just had to go speaking in tongues there. Yes, because we have some little problems here at home. But so the caller was complaining about some political stuff, and the state chairman of the PDP has stepped in beautifully. So let's get back to your question.
Okay, yes.
And by the way, the road to the studios is in a state. In fact, it's one of the worst roads in West Africa, I can tell you. So every time we have a premium guest like this, a great guest like this, a friend of Ibiakuru and a friend of Uru and a friend of Akwa Ibom, a friend of the media, the state chairman of PDP, the Right Honorable Elder Nakan. Simon Akpan, what we do is we try to, because of the roads, they would always come late. There's no way they can even make it early because the roads are in a state. We try to add a little time. So we'll be running until 1/4 the hour, just to make sure we can shift in all the questions. Looks like there's a caller. Hello. Are you there?
Lost.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, Chairman, a few days ago, you invited chapter chairman and members of other shakers and movers of the leadership level of your party, and you handed over to them a new set of membership registers and membership cards. Quite a number of your members are a bit confused. Is it a fresh registration that you've given that, the ward chairman and all of that, the mandate to go and do? Are you so just talk to us about what you intend to achieve, because it's not too long ago that you did the same thing. So is it going to be a yearly thing? I mean, what do you intend to achieve?
Yeah, thank you, IT. Like I said, that is part of the resolution of the NEC meeting, the last NEC meeting we had. We have a calendar of activities, and the starting point, before you can conduct any congress of the party, you must update the register. You must update the register.
Okay.
So every member of the party, old and new, are expected to go. In church in Toro, you go every year
to renew membership and pay small things.
So this one, the party says, don't pay anything. Just go. Just go to your ward. It's a time to, everybody must return to the ward. Go see the ward chairman and secretary, put your name, get a new card. Get a new card, put your name there. It's updating the register, but everybody must go. Old and new. That's the directive of the National Secretariat. Fantastic. So that you be part of the Congress at the ward, which is coming up in June. When the register is brought, you can only be a member of the Congress if your name is in the register. Because the ward level, every registered member of the party is supposed to be at that ward center for the World Congress.
Okay.
Francis.
Chairman, I know that Dan Chris is still possibly on with us. If Dan is still on, I think we just give him the last option before we come back to the house. Dan, are you still with us?
No, Dan, not Dan. We are going to the United States.
Okay.
Wisconsin live. Enobo Moite, former boxer, great lover of Akwa Ibom, is on the program. So nice to have you, bro.
Very much, the panel. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me.
What time is it in the United States, that part of the U.S.?
It is exactly 2:57 a.m.
Oh, you don't look like you've been sleeping at all. What have you been doing, this man? Cooking?
Yes, I am the proverbial in the local parlance and in our language is called kurikut. So I am up at the odd hours, and of course we run a 24-hour economy, so I could be working at this time. So that's why I'm awake even now.
The international audience, just excuse me. This is my brother. He's in Wisconsin. And by the way, Terry, just power the studio sound a little more. And I always would like to break away and speak in tongues with him. So, America, I'm everybody here for. It's up for mass for shine. America, everybody.
Idioko Kubush.
Yes.
I eat our regular foods because the Western foods here are very chemicalized and processed. So those things will send you to the grave very slowly, but very surely. But I eat our foods, as you know. I cook all the soups here, cook ekpang here. So that's why I have a youthfulness that is 2 decades beyond my actual age.
Okay, so Francis is here, Toro Columba is here, Francis said it, by the way, and then of course the state chairman of PDP, the Right Honorable Elder Aniekan Simon Akpan. It's been a long time you came tonight. When was the last time you came home, and what political party do you even belong to in Nigeria?
Well, I am a card-carrying member of the PDP. I have always been and will always be. And if you remember my background, I was in the public service in the SSS very briefly for about 5 years, where thanks to the federal government, I was assigned to several sensitive installations and posts around the country, one of which was the Akwa Ibom State Government House. So I'm very conversant with the leaders of the party from its ancestry in 1999, even the founders, the G34. The PDP is dear to my heart. So I am a card-carrying member of the PDP. Always will be.
So when last did you come home? And when next are you coming?
It has been almost 2 decades, but
Whoa.
by the special grace of God, I do intend to make a surprise visit at some point very soon, within the next few months.
Do you have questions for the state chairman, or do you want him to fire you his own?
Mr. State Chairman, first of all, I want to commend you and congratulate you for ascending that very prestigious seat for the party. I have incidentally met and know all your predecessors, and you have come on board at a critical stage, not only for the party, but for democracy itself, because the current ruling party at the federal level is a pseudo, in my opinion, is a pseudo autocratic entity that is trying to turn the country into a one-party state. And so, first of all, I want to commend you. And I've also listened into the interview and seen the great innovations that the party is doing at state level in terms of updating register. And what I wanted to ask, and what our people here in diaspora are asking, is what is the party doing to ensure that the current electoral act is modernized, number one, and is synchronized such that even at world level, the electoral franchise is protected, is safe, and can be trusted in the event of a fallout like as it happened in the presidential election. So what is the party doing to ensure that the electoral act itself will be fully complied with? If you remember what happened in the last election, there was an electoral act that was supposedly modernized to include biometrics, to include the BVAS machine, even in the language of the statute. But in practice, that wasn't the case. The INEC conducted the election totally different from its objective, its advertised objective, and even the language of the statute, which also allowed it to act discretionary. So what is the party doing to ensure that the current electoral act is in sync with the modern practice to protect the electoral franchise, even at world level?
Yes, the chairman.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Umoite. Thank you for standing by us. You've been a member of this party. And we still expect to link up from time to time, and we expect your views, and we will also appreciate all that you do. For the review of the Electoral Act, you know that is a matter for the National Assembly. And by the grace of God, our members there, working with other members of the National Assembly, are already looking at a review of the electoral law in compliance with some of the issues we have raised, because it has been of concern to every person, not only the PDP as a party, but even other political parties. So I think this time around, they look at that review before we think of next election in 2027. We'll have some review, and that is going to help us.
Yes, gentlemen, you have something for Inoba Omoite in Wisconsin, United States?
I think I'd just like to ask, you've worked within the government, and of course, like you rightly mentioned. So,
yes, he was a DSS man.
DSS. So the security situation in Akwa Ibom State, what would be your assessment of it presently compared to what it used to be in the past? And what possible advice would you give to this present administration, especially considering the fact that we now have Commissioner for Internal Security, we now have the IBOM Watch and all of that set up for our security?
Thank you very much for the question. First of all, I would let's do a little historical context. Akwa Ibom State has had three predecessor chief security officers. You have the first 8 years was His Excellency Obong Victor Ota, and his successor, His Excellency Godswill Akpabio, and Godswill Akpabio's successor, His Excellency Governor Dom Emmanuel, and now we have His Excellency Pastor Moino. So the three phases. We remember the first phase the first 8 years of this current democratic dispensation, the security situation in the state was pretty much the best nationwide. The crime was low, political upheavals were low, and security situation was stable. And you can attribute that to a great extent to two things: the leadership at the state level, at the federal level, and the economy at the time. Then came the next administration. The next administration was His Excellency Governor Godswill Akpabio. At the national level, the economy began to change. The security situation in the nation began to change. And it was a very turbulent period in Akwa Ibom State's history, because at that time, the per capita assassination and crime rate was the highest in the country, Akwa Ibom State. Then came Governor Udom Emmanuel. We saw a much more stable, a much more secure Akwa Ibom State. Now we have His Excellency Pastor Umoino, who, first of all, we in the diaspora want to commend. I have spoken to him in person when he was campaigning for the governorship, and to the credit of my mentor, Michael Bush, he was the first media entity in the entire state to endorse and support the candidacy of then candidate Pastor Umoino, when Pastor Umoino was the most litigated candidate in Nigeria's electoral history. So it was quite an act of courage that Michael Bush did that at the time, and I did so at the time, and I followed suit, because we believed, first of all, in his qualities, personal qualities. We believed in his pedigree. We believed that he was a man who was going to come in and ensure that there was peace and stability in the state. So right now in the state, I can say authoritatively that we in diaspora are impressed with the steps he's taken. See, there is the federal security parastatal. It does not stop the state from its own initiatives. As you know, in the southwest was the Oduwa People's Congress, the OPC. There are other security initiatives and structural programs that state governments have set in, even though they don't have federal statutory protection, but they've done so to supplement the federal level. So Governor Moino is doing that with those things, creating that ministry, and also the Bomb Watch, and what I believe is a civil defense kind of monitoring unit. So he's doing well, and there is relative security comparative to the past years. So there is tremendous progress with what this governor is doing.
Enobong Umoite in Wisconsin, United States of America. Many thanks for tuning in, and go back to sleep, bro, so that I can go to work tomorrow. Many thanks. It was very nice to have you on the program. We look forward to many Mondays like this. Thank you. Fantastic. Okay, gentlemen, we need to round off.
Yes.
So our closing shots. We'll start with you.
Okay, so there's no way I won't rest this state chairman. On the build-up, I mean, during the electioneering, there was a very strategic component of the campaign machinery. A number of persons were brought from the 330...
29 at that time. Oh, ward leaders. Oh, great, great.
Ward leaders.
I love you. I'm happy that you raised that.
There's no way I wouldn't raise this. You know, they have to, sell the Umoino agenda, tell the story of the governorship candidate. And this government is almost a year old, and I'm not sure, so much of celebration has been happening within the ward leaders family. And I know how much dearly you hold the Akwa Ibom Ward Leaders Union. Is it of concern to you? Are there special advocacies you're making to the extent to which you want to share with us on air for the ward leaders who help to galvanize the electioneering machinery?
Great question.
Thank you very much. First, I have to appreciate the ward leaders as I speak to the entire world.
Amen.
For their role. I still hold them in very high esteem. These are leaders in their own right, in their respective roles. And so the team is still there, strong, and I know that. And so they are leaders, and they are happy with what their son, the governor, is doing. And so the leaders, I know, will not be in a hurry
Okay.
You know, they are happy with what the governor, know full well that the governor appropriately will reach out to the world leaders
At the right
very
time.
well, at the right time. Don't worry, because you know that I'm part and parcel of that
course,
structure.
of course.
You know
The
what
governor himself is a world leader.
The governor is a world leader. I'm a world leader, and you know Itoro is the president general. Bush is the president. Bush is the president general.
And the fact that I didn't interject when he said, all is well with them, it gives me a great deal of
definitely. You
consolation.
see, I keep on telling people there was a time that as I was growing up, I was following politics. I used to attend meetings with late Senator Kanyan Upana. Even when I was still in the public service, I would go there and say, "Oh, Nekan, you write for us. I know you can write very well." But that was the level at the extent I could go. But when they do the landing, I will not be part of it. You see, but the joy is that in those days we'll support somebody, we'll run round, we'll run errands. And when the person wins, we'll still go back to our home and be the ones to buy drink and celebrate that the person we supported
has won.
So I think that is what many of the world leaders are doing now. The Omoino, the pastor Omoino they supported has won and is doing very well, and they have given the opportunity. He has given the opportunity to settle down, knowing full well that he will reach out to the leaders appropriately at the appropriate time.
Thank you, State Chairman.
I think
Francis, we need to go.
My parting question would be what Dan Chris would have loved to ask. He just dropped that for me, and he likes to hear your thought on the current narrative around people within the PDP trying to woo back His Excellency Peter Obi, who left the PDP to join the Labour Party at the just concluded elections.
It's good politics. You see, at all levels, you go for persons you know can add value, have something to contribute to. So Peter Obi has been part and parcel. It's part of the reconciliation that the party is now looking at. Why did people move out? So why can't we bring them back? So if at that level, leadership, all of us, that's what we are doing at the state level, at the national level, trying to talk to other people that moved. Can we come back? Can we rebuild? So definitely, I think it's a good move.
Okay, so we've been discussing with the state chairman of the People's Democratic Party in Akwa Ibom, and that is the Right Honorable Elder Anekan Simon Okpan. Is a former classroom teacher, former school principal, former commissioner of education, former local government chairman, and I'm not taking that in any particular order. Former, what else? This man has been there. Former House of Assembly member, and then former commissioner on a board, you understand, the Local Government Service Commission. And it was just nice the last 2 hours, 15 minutes, I came some part of the program to have had him on air. There will be other days. We look forward to having him many more days, but this one, it just came because of this little window opened by Governor Umo Eno on his first anniversary in office. Many more years of this governor. So I'm going to allow the chairman to have his parting shot by telling us what he wants to tell the people, especially if there is something Itoro Columba, Francis Eded, and myself, Michael Bush, didn't ask you, but that you need to drop for our people across the world before you leave. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this team for this great opportunity. All I can say is that as I sit back, I give thanks to God, appreciate God, I appreciate the people of Akwa Ibom State and our party, right from the state ESCO, where I preside down to the local government and all the structures of the party for standing by the governor. 2 days from now, the 25th of May, and I will not fail to remember, 25th of May 2022. That was exactly the day that we went to Nest of Champion, and we had a state congress where this present governor emerged as a candidate, as we recall. On that day, I made a statement that whoever emerges from that congress will be our candidate and will be the best for Akwa Ibom State.
Amen.
And I'm so satisfied that that has come to be. And so I urge the people of Akwa Ibom State, within and outside, even in the diaspora, to continue to support this administration led by Pastor Omaina. From what we've seen in 1 year, we can look into the next years coming. That is going to be great for Akwa Ibom State.
Fantastic.
Thank you very much.
It will take us home.
Okay, so that's how much time would permit us to do today. We'd like to thank you for having been a part of the program for as long as it lasted. We're back tomorrow.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're back
7 a.m.
7 a.m.
Yes.
So join us.
We have a lineup of guests. You can't miss it.
So,
Francis.
on behalf of all of us.
We've got to go. Mr. Speaker, they're waiting for you.
It's time for us to go. Thank you so much. I mean, Itoro has said it all. Let's do this again tomorrow, same time, same station. And special honor to be here with the boss himself and another senior boss in the industry. You enjoy the rest of your day. From all of us at Spectrum, it's bye-bye for now.
Goodbye from Imbiakuran in Uran local government area. Not from Okanafon, not from Ikono, not from Mo. Goodbye.
The landlord.